Hi, Tony Selzo here. Welcome to the Zipline. Man, I am so amazed every time I get to do this show about how many great technology companies are right here in the state of Indiana. And we're going a little bit further north over into my stomping grounds. I'm actually born and raised in Dowagiac, Michigan. I was a domer, back in the day. I ended up at Michigan State, but I've got Rich Carlton with Data Realty. He's the CEO over there. Data Realty is a very unique value prop in this emerging market called the big data, the data center space, this whole emerging and submersion of all these services coming together. What is Data Realty and how are you guys doing things different there, Rich?
Thanks for having me on today. Data Realty builds data centers that store, protect, and power the analysis of clients' data. Our core group had been in the data center business previously, and what we saw was a great value proposition that companies didn't want to be in that infrastructure business, didn't want to spend those dollars. At the same time, they didn't necessarily want to outsource them completely either. And so our business model has two main differentiators. Number one, we allowed clients that were interested to be partners. And so you mentioned being a domer. We're right here in South Bend. The University of Notre Dame is actually one of the owners of our business. So is First Source Financial. So is Schurz Communications. Other businesses locally that saw that fit.
Wow.
The other side of it, though, is we believed as that big data wave was coming, companies were going to want to say, what can I do with all this data? Turning my data center from a cost center into a revenue generator. And that's what our mission is.
So you combine these two very unique ways to look at this technology, this solution, really, this data warehousing solution, and then you're helping these clients, both the partners that are part of your entity, but also the businesses that you're providing service to. You're helping them make sense out of all this data and create more value out of that. Talk to me about that.
Sure. What we found was that as we were getting into this, we started with just wanting to offer the infrastructure around big data. I mean, you hear a lot about Hadoop these days, and you hear about companies that have lots of information spread out all over the place about their clients or prospects. It might be a bank that has information in an online checking account system. They might have mortgage info. They might have wealth management info. And then there might be third-party data that's public data that tells where people live and how far away they are from branches. They collectively can paint a very intricate picture of your client.
Right.
Our mission is to be able to go ahead. Our mission is to be able to pull all that data together and then allow data scientists, either at the client site or we have a sister company here in South Bend called Analytics that writes custom software to be able to give that client a view of that data and then be able to take some actionable insight against it. How do I retain more clients? How do I upsell? What message to the right person at the right time? What new markets should I go into and why? Those are the types of problems that our collective group is helping solve.
Rich, and why that is so important, and I think this is what's so exciting about what you guys are doing and what really differentiates you compared to a lot of those other data centers that are out there, because that kind of gets you in that bland, red ocean type of field, is there are breakthroughs in those insights of understanding the relationship between all those disparate data points. I mean, there's some business-changing insights that you can get out and glean out of that data. Do you have any examples like that of what you've helped those companies figure out?
Well, we have organizations that are looking at if you're in a residual revenue business, we've looked, the data science team at Analytics has used all the data to look backwards and be able to predict what clients were going to leave before they left so that you could take the appropriate steps to hold on to them. We have clients that are looking in the healthcare field to reduce readmission rates. You have banks and other organizations that are looking at saying, who is my ideal client? Who have I had the best success with? And who looks just like them and where they at? And that puts with automotive dealers as you look at different changes in lifestyle and who might be ready for the luxury car that's driving the minivan right now. And one of the differentiators is beyond what we're doing with combining the client's data is we're pulling in third-party data, public data sources, other information the client may not have their hands on that when you collectively bring them together can paint a completely different picture. And we're targeting it very much so at the middle market.
And that's really that SMB space, that medium-sized business. They've heard about it, they've read about it, but you guys are actually teaching them how to take advantage of that. I mean, taking it from being a buzzword, like just like the cloud, right? I mean, it's been buzzworded to death. You're helping them make real business advantages of data that they already own by using the other data sources that are available to them, understanding those relationships and creating dynamically new value from that. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. What we've seen, particularly in the middle market, is there are a lot of people doing different segments. There's people that are doing the data center. There's people that are doing the infrastructure. There's people that are doing the data science. And there's people who might be consulting firms. We're trying to take it at Data Realty end to end with partners that make the most sense, but we're delivering a complete solution of best of breed services and doing it in an as a service model that clients in the middle market can afford. So as opposed to trying to go out and buy all the infrastructure and buy the talent and buy the data science and hire the people and spend millions of dollars before you even know if you're going to get any insights, we can really target what the end business problem is and deliver it in a way that makes sense. And so we're doing the project management. We have, as I mentioned, a great partnership with a company called Analytics that is keeping some unbelievable talent from Notre Dame here in town that's writing the custom software. And then we're doing the project management, the insight strategist who actually takes the data and helps work with our client firms to say, okay, what does this mean and how can I take some action against it? We're trying to take that promise of big data and turn it into real revenue generators and really creating differentiators for our clients in the markets that they're in.
So really to summarize it, taking that, you said it, and I just want to make sure everybody here heard it, from big data to real revenue. I mean, that is the dynamic impact you're making these organizations. And it's just so awesome that this is here, that it's available in South Bend, Indiana, that we've got this type of talent that we're leveraging out of Notre Dame and these other resources in order to make this kind of impact. What does your ideal client look like, Rich? What is that perfect client where you just know you're going to make that slam dunk impact?
You know, the ideal client right now for us that we've served the best is somebody who's in the middle market space, who has a collection of data that they may not completely understand, but they have a business challenge that they know that they want to overcome. And they're creative enough and know that they don't have to be bleeding edge, but they can be out front. They can utilize data that's been a cost for them up to this point and turn it into something special that differentiates them from their clients. And so it's an organization that's forward thinking in a space that has critical data that, combined with the talent and services we have, can turn it into something revenue generating.
So they're that $150 to $1 billion space. They're trying to figure out, they've heard about these buzzwords. They've got an IT department. They don't have any of that talent in-house. They know they need some place to store this stuff. They've got a lot of disparate resources they want to bring together to see in one. I mean, that's when you guys can really make some impact. Is that fair?
Sure, absolutely. And the nice thing is, one of the things that we spend a lot of time on, I mean, our data center that we built up here is world-class. It's built by the same people that have done work with Microsoft and Google and others. But what we wanted to make sure is that while we can do co-location and store companies' data here all day long, if, for instance, they had data in their own data center or spread out around the country, we have a great solution for that. We have an appliance that can set on those sites, and so we can still be around the country. We can pull the things that are necessary together to bring business insight here and do it in a safe, secure, compliant, hosted way. And so it doesn't require a massive IT project on the client's standpoint. All it does is take the knowledge of what the business issue is and turning it into something that can be transformative.
Rich, one last question, then we're going to wrap.
Sure.
Are there any specific spaces where you guys have an unfair competitive advantage? Are you big in healthcare? Are you big in automotive? You mentioned a couple of those. Are there any spaces where your people just have an unfair advantage in understanding that environment?
I don't know that unfair is what we define it as, but that's a good idea. To be honest with you, what the algorithms that have been developed right now that have the most sizzle, we use the acronym RUN. They're either focused on retaining existing clients, they're looking on upselling to your current clients with the right message, or they're looking on taking your data on identifying who my best clients are and how do I go find new ones or new markets that best have those. And so those are most applied right now. Up to this point, we've had our best success with banking, with media companies, with automotive dealers, and those spaces. But at the same time, healthcare is starting to look to reduce my readmission rates. How can I use other data that I might have outside of my hospital to be able to do those? So we continue to see opportunities to sell. We continue to see opportunities where data can drive solutions for organizations. I don't think it's going to be limited to just those that I mentioned.
Rich Carlton, you've been zipped.
Thank you very much.